Deon and Robert, it is great to see you guys. As always, I wish we were at the NAB show in a couple weeks, enjoying the warm weather. I was looking forward to being at the end of April. I was like, yes, it's finally going to be warm there this year. Obviously not happening, so we're doing this virtually, but I really appreciate your time. How are you both doing and holding up?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm in New York, kind of sheltered in place, or locked in, or however
Locked
you
in.
want to call it.
Yes.
It's funny enough, especially with the media and entertainment industry being called essential industries, things have not slowed down for me. In fact, I think things have picked up. So it's really been an adjustment to working from home, like everybody else is going through. But the work is definitely still there. I think a lot of our customers have concerns, and they're trying to enact their disaster recovery plans. So we're just trying to do the best we can to be there as a resource, be there as a partner to help people, stay on air and get the information out that they really need.
Sure, sure. And Robert, where are you based?
I'm based in Miami, Florida. And just as Deon said, things haven't slowed down. And actually, we've seen, especially on the cloud side of things, a lot of the conversations that we were having with our customers prior to this entire event, they were kind of either slowly moving into the cloud or kind of pushing it off into later dates. But now, with everything happening and everybody working from home and needing to get their content remotely, those conversations have picked up, exponentially.
Right. So now what's it like having those conversations without being able to maybe meet in person? You're having virtual conversations about deploying a cloud-based infrastructure. Does it make it complicated? Does it change the conversations? Is there more immediacy from their standpoint?
So on the software solution side for like our asset management solutions, we've kind of already had these sorts of conversations before. A lot of our conversations with customers will start in some sort of in a virtual environment. And we have environments where customers can test the solutions either in the cloud or, accessing a system that we have hosted somewhere. So it hasn't, really changed the conversations. Obviously, we can't go on site and meet in person, but we're doing video conferences and allowing customers to test the solutions via the cloud.
Right, gotcha. So Dean, I know we have a couple of slides, so let's roll into it, and then we'll have a little bit of a conversation as we go through it, and then also afterwards.
We really wanted to get the information out to our user base. We really wanted to share with people what Sony is working on, where we're seeing the market trending. And reality is, the whole situation here really kind of drives the message for cloud and IP-based solutions. We see a number of customers asking and wanting to know, well, how do I connect to my station, or how do I connect to my facility remotely if I'm not able to deploy employees there? And a lot of the market conditions have really kind of led us here. And virtualization, orchestration, better utilization, and access to those resources is still a concept, and it's always been a part of our strategy as we relate to IP. So if you take a look at some of the announcements we made last year at IBC, we made a huge announcement of our partnership with Nevion, a world leader in real-time IP media networks and virtualization. And they've now, through our partnership, they've now been able to augment Sony's offering to the marketplace. And what we've done is we've built a new platform that combines Sony's offerings with the Nevion offerings. And this platform is an end-to-end IP live production platform that offers key functionality that includes facility management. That's where you're going to find the ability to control your production resources, dynamically reconfigure them, change the system format, be able to operate resources in 4K for one studio, HD for another studio, simply by setting up a preset beforehand. So what took hours, if not days, of reconfiguring IP addresses or reconfiguring settings in camera, settings and switchers and replay and graphics can now be orchestrated, can now be controlled from the facility management layer. Then you move down to the broadcast control layer, and this is where you'll find controlling of your IP streams and your traditional routing. How do you route signals from one facility in New York to another facility in Washington, D.C., if you're running a remote production, or if you're doing a shared resource production where DC is using the switcher in New York to put on a show in the morning. Now, network orchestration and SDN control is something that Nebion brought to our portfolio through this partnership, is that now we can leverage SDN, software-defined networking, so that those customers who have enterprise LAN or enterprise WAN deployments can truly scale and dynamically monitor and control their network. So all of those stations that were once disparate and disconnected from each other have the ability to connect. They have the ability to build redundancy through SDN, and they have the ability to do stream control and routing control on the network depending on the dynamics of the network. So it really adds that intelligent layer to the network. It also gives us now the ability to work across a multi-vendor topology, whether customers are building networks with Cisco, Arista, Huawei, Mellanox, whomever, we don't care. You now don't have to be a specific vendor house. You can operate this platform on any network topology. And all of this sits on top of our traditional offering. Acquisition, which includes our cameras and so on, production, our switchers and servers, processing is a conversion. And we also add a distribution layer, the ability now at the edge of the station to encode and decode signals for IP distribution, using things like JPEG XS or J2K to contribute those signals between stations or to whatever destinations. That's the big news from Sony, along with the fact that this gets added to our already extensive lineup of live production products. Very proud, very happy that every product in our live production portfolio is SMPTE 2110 enabled. And from the very beginning of 2110, seeing that 2110 was going to become the standard for IP, Sony has been an active proponent of that format as the industry transitions. And we're very happy and very proud to say that not only do the products support SMPTE 2110, but we also support interoperability as laid out by the governing bodies like AMWA through the NMOS protocols and the Joint Task Force on Network Media. The other bit of news, and I don't necessarily have a slide for that, really talks to the fact that we're now looking at over 100 installations in IP with Sony Gear on a global basis. That's a significant increase from last year around this time. So very proud. And I think during the Sony upcoming Tech Talk, we'll be able to give more detail on some of the new key customers that we're adding to our family of IP customers. But this is growing. We're seeing a lot of transformative change, and we're very, very proud and happy to be working with our customers hand in hand as a partner to help them build their IP facilities.
Great, that's great. Excellent. Robert, any thoughts you wanted to share? And Michael just joined us. Michael, welcome.
Deon covered it extremely well on the IP side of things. On the asset management and cloud side of things, we've got a number of things that we're enabling our customers to leverage for getting access to their content, working with their content in a very efficient and cost-effective manner. So I'm going to go ahead and share some slides here. And the first thing we're going to talk about is some of our latest and greatest in relation to our C Media Cloud platform. And for that, I'll actually let Michael, who's our Senior Director of Customer Success for our Media Cloud division, I'll let him kind of cover some of the latest improvements to our C Media Cloud platform.
Thanks, Robert. Can you hear me okay?
Sure. Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Yeah, so, you know, we've been around for a number of years at this stage, really matured in terms of an overall platform. And it's something we do want to make sure that people are aware of, is that we're not just a point-in-time application. We are rather something that is very scalable, auto-scalable in most everything we do. That includes uploading, downloading, that includes previewability of content. Now with some of our new features like our smart clipping, we have the ability to, you know, mark in-out points and then clip out. And in certain cases, such as an XT-CAM codec or an XAVC codec, it's actually literally a trim. So it's actually ripping out that content from the original source, not doing any transcoding or rendering, rather just appreciating the fact that that original content and its time code are being identified in a brand new clip asset. So that's a brand new feature we offered as of December. And we're adding more functionality and features there, along the ability to not only do that, but also render out as a transcode, such as a frame rate conversion, whether that be a standard type transcode or a tachyon type transcode. We offer all of that flexibility and options. Alternatively, moving beyond our traditional model of our workspace. So C Workspaces has been around for about 5-6 years, has attained a great deal of volume usage and success. But we also identified that there is a need out there for, when you go beyond a work in progress workflow and upstream in the production, post-production workflows, you have a need downstream for where those final assets need to live and reside long-term. So long ago, we built in the ability to support archival. So we have archive features, including now deep archive. So Amazon Web Services, which we run on top of as a base platform, announced deep archive about a year ago. They then let it go to market during the summer last year. We now support and have supported for the past couple of months deep archive capability, where not only are you going down to Glacier storage, but you're going down to another level of storage at 99 cents per terabyte per month, of which we pass through. We don't put a markup on that. We basically pass through that same rate. And because when we look at storage, it's obviously very important that people are able to store things in a manageable way, but at the same time, they get the ease of use out of our UI, and they're not having to do anything more complicated than have an account with C, right? They're able to leverage all that goodness and functionality, and they don't have to have the management of an AWS console, right? So that's something very appealing. Other folks out there might have some other needs, and I'll address those in a moment. But one of the things that we are going to be rolling out in the next couple of months is a new product called Catalog. And this is a little bit more along the lines of where you could put those finished products in, and they would allow it to have different access controls than we traditionally have offered. So that means by the user at the folder level. So, when you look at a final asset, you also have a lot of other things that make up that asset, not only the source file itself, but also many what we call elements. And so we have the ability in Catalog to respect the concept of those many different elements that feed into how you might look at a final master. Could you have, different captions and audio and all these kinds of different factors that come into play when you want to package something up for delivery? So we offer, greater support at that catalog level for content like that, along with the visibility to only those people who need to see something or see and do something with the content. And one of the nice things about this is that workspaces and catalog are integrated very, very deeply. So you can publish out from a workspace to a catalog. So you've done your work in progress, you've done all your final reviews, you've come up with your final master assets and elements, and now you want to put them into a catalog. So that's a great place for that to work. And so that will be rolling out in just the next couple of months. Talked about deep archive, talked a little bit about clipping. One of the things that we've noticed in the market, and obviously the times are so unique right now, that there is this ever-growing demand for editing, cloud-based editing, cloud-based storage that feeds into editing workflow. And that's one of the things that we're also identifying with, is that, having the ability for virtual edit machines to be spun up in the cloud while leveraging something like C as the container where that is available, and thus making those virtual machines and the ability to communicate with C, really in a cloud communication without having to pull things down local. Those are things that, as you've heard about before, and we saw your posted link for the NHRA model. That is something, we believe that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? That is just the growing way in which we're going to see things evolve. Efficiencies are born out of things that we all go through when we need to modify our workflows. That's what we're all doing right now. Right. We're modifying how we do things in our workflows. We have to. It's necessary to survive. And what we think we've done in C historically is we've enabled that. We've been here for a while. We know and understand the workflows, and we're making it easier for people to do those things. And, just as a note, when you're looking in the sports world, We've got folks like the Tennessee Titans that have just come on, NHRA, Southern Methodist University football. One of our long-standing customers is Fan 360, if you've ever heard of them before. That they're a great model whereby they work with NASCAR, they work with Major League Soccer, and they're a venue-driven application. But what they're now doing is they're moving beyond their standard image-based workflows, and now C is being used as the endpoint for all the video capture that they're doing through their fan app, their Euphoria fan app. So these are all growing models that scale massively. We also offer, we also have folks like the El Paso Chihuahuas, which also has the ownership also has a soccer team that leverages that same account, and of course the New Orleans Saints and Pelicans, which I think, Robert, you're going to go into a little bit more in the hybrid model where C and Navigator X integrate together as well. And before I go any further, did you have any questions there I kind of went through that a little bit quickly?
Yeah, no, that's great.
Thank you, Michael. So just to add on to what Michael was saying, obviously in these times right now, cloud is huge for us, and a lot of our customers, because their production teams can't go into their facilities, they need to be able to share content remotely, access that content remotely. But we know eventually we're going to be able to go back into our facilities, and we have a wealth of content and maybe devices on premise that we're still going to need to leverage. But this current situation has opened our eyes that we want to be able to access our content from anywhere, but still be able to leverage the things that we do have on premise. So Navigator X traditionally has been our on-premise media asset management system. And obviously, as Michael was talking about before, C and C Catalog are our enterprise level media asset management in the cloud. And we've already integrated those two products together. But over this year, we're going to be releasing some deeper integration with those two products to really enable a truly hybrid workflow. So again, obviously we want our customers to be able to access all of their content remotely, but you probably already have large SAN or NAS storages, maybe archive devices on premise, maybe transcode devices on premise. So the great thing about the integration between Navigator X and C is that Navigator X, being an on-premise solution, has the interfaces to leverage your on-premise storage, your on-premise transcode, your on-premise archive in its workflow orchestration layer. And now with the integration with C, we can leverage C as the gateway to be able to access those content and leverage those devices from anywhere. So part of this deeper integration with Navigator X and C is going to be remote access to your content. So being able to access either proxies of your content that may be sitting on high res, or potentially even pulling that high res up to the cloud so that you can leverage it or receive it somewhere else. Workflow orchestration, it's always been a huge component of Navigator X, but we want to be able to leverage some of those on-premise devices to make things more efficient. You don't want to pull high-res content up to the cloud if you just need to deliver it back to on-premise. So with Navigator X and C, Navigator X is that workflow orchestration layer. It can do that workflow orchestration on-premise and only pull up to the cloud when we need it to. And then obviously with C in the cloud, it's extremely scalable. And with Cloud Archive, now you have the ability to archive both on-premise and in the cloud, or do both. So this is a big point for us over this year. We've, as Michael mentioned, we've got a large number of sports customers on both platforms, and this is really bridging the gap between the two.
Yeah, let me just also segment.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, Robert. So
Go ahead,
I just want to speak a little bit to, when you look at large amounts of content, and this is oftentimes a topic that comes up, especially when you have sports teams, where you have the need for, let's say, digitization of content, which our Memnon group does, oftentimes with historic content. But when you have that bulk of content, there's often a question about how do you get that from point A to point B, right? How does that get into an environment like C? And one of the things that I wanted to share with you also is that we provide mechanisms to do those things. Whether that's a bulk upload process that we help enable, or whether that's a process by which we're enabling and supporting AWS Snowball transfers. So we do that across the board for a lot of our customers. And in sports, we're finding that's a great area where they've got an investment that they've made historically. They have the licensing rights to their content, and they absolutely want to find ways in which they can slice and dice that content in a digital manner more than they've ever done before. And that comes in really handy when you have bulk upload support.
Great.
Yeah. And taking things a little bit further, past asset management, one of the big things, even before the current situation that we're in, has been AI. And how do we really leverage AI for media enrichment and really make it a part of our workflows and really find value in it? So we are launching what we're calling our media analytics portal. It's a completely cloud-based AI gateway that leverages Sony AI models for doing things like object detection, face detection, speech to text, image analysis, scene detection. You can really leverage all of those AI models to do media enrichment. In addition, we can also incorporate third-party AI models or services and pull in those data feeds and aggregate them into the data that you're getting from our own Sony AI models. Obviously, it'll be integrated with our existing solutions, such as C or Navigator X. And we also will be providing custom modeling services. So some example use cases, I kind of talked about a couple of them, but you could leverage these AI engines to do speech to text, transcription, things like object detection, optical character recognition, potentially for identifying text, jersey numbers, names on jerseys, facial detection for being able to identify different players on the fields. And then with all of these various AI engines, we can couple those together to do some more advanced things, such as automated highlight generation. Instead of having somebody sit in front of Navigator X or C in order to do highlight clipping and publishing, you can use our media analytics portal to do that highlight generation for you, or something like a condensed game recap. So these are AI models that are going to be included in the media analytics portal. And again, they're going to be seamlessly integrated with our Sony solutions to make it very easy for our customers to leverage them. But it'll also have a full REST API so that if you do have any third-party solutions or systems, you can pull our data from the media analytics portal and leverage it somewhere downstream.
Thanks, guys. That was great. Very comprehensive. It was good. So, obviously, so when is the tech talk going to be taking place, or the next? Do we have a date for that yet that people can tune in for? You're doing great.
Plastic is coordinating that,
Yeah.
so she should be communicating out the dates for when that will be. I think there was a game plan to do it around the same time of what was going to be the press event, but Sue would have the greater detail on that. But yeah, I think the game plan is to release information in an on-demand format to kind of give people an overview of what Sony was going to be introducing, and also back that up with some kind of real informational videos on the different areas of Sony where our business is really focused on, including IP and imaging, HDR, cloud-based workflows, content management, and so on. So
Right.
Those should be communicated on in the coming days.
Great, excellent. Well, thanks for your time, guys, today. Really appreciate it. Obviously, we'll be in touch with all these announcements coming down the pike, and all the news stories that are going to come out, as obviously the world's going to return to normal at some point.
Yeah.
So I know it looks like you guys are ready for that, and you're busy already, which is good. So really appreciate your time. Obviously, stay safe and healthy, and to your families as well, and to the whole Sony family around the world, for that matter.
All right. Same to you, Ken.